All right, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Reyes Reflection Podcast. Always free to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And of course, show your boy some love on the social medias at I'm Nathanael Reyes. Now, it's been a while since we put an episode out because of some scheduling conflicts. But nonetheless, I appreciate you reaching out, checking, see how I'm doing, asking when another episode is coming out. For all you loyal listeners, there are a lot of choices out there, so it means a lot to me that you make us part of your day. Thank you so much. Now, on to the introduction of my guest. I was going to say it, but instead, I'm going to play it in the words of a song. No copyright, okay? Are you ready? This is going to be All right, here we go. Let's see if I can go ahead and figure this out. Oh, wait. Technology yet again. All right. Now, the reasons why I played that song is because that could be the theme song of my guest. Because not only has she auditioned for The Voice once, but she did it twice, and she dusted herself up and got right back up. She's a school teacher from Dallas, Texas, a singer, songwriter, and an overall brilliant individual. So without further ado, making her debut on the Reyes Reflection podcast, Manasseh Samone, welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Now, I heard from a semi-reliable source, okay, that you are a dog lover. Is this true?
Yes. This is very much true.
And you have a German Shepherd, Zoe?
Yes, I do.
All right, so my source was correct. Okay, good to know. Noiva, I appreciate you for giving me that. There's your shout. Awesome. So I know we said a lot in the introduction there. Now I want to unpack it all. So let's start with you and your upbringing. Dallas, Texas. Is that where you were born and raised?
Yes, I was born and raised Dallas, Texas. I was always a shy kid. I was very much into school, and I just loved music, being part of the choirs and being part of musical theater, like participating in the events that the school had. I was also a athlete as well. Like I loved to play basketball until I injured my knee, and then that's when that whole thing happened, and I had to point my direction to music more. So, yeah, that's my upbringing and how I was as a child.
So I played basketball as well, and I thought I was going to the NBA. Now, mind you, I'm only on my license. I say I'm 5'9". I'm really 5'7", so I'm being generous. 5'7.5". I'm being generous. You know,
Wow.
everyone makes himself a little taller on their license. So I played basketball as well. Similar instance, senior year, hurt my knee really bad, and ever since I was able to manage and play 1 year of college basketball, but admittingly, I was on the injured reserve list, so I practiced with the team and was essentially redshirt because I couldn't really play. But it was tough. So I'm a basketball player as well. So that's cool that you were able to play basketball. Now you said that you were shy. As a shy person, how hard was it for you to be able to make friends, garnish relationships as a young kid, especially being an introvert? Especially when at a time when you're kind of just carefree and don't really care about anything, you know what I mean? Like at that age, you're not really supposed to care. So how was it for you able to gain friendships and things like that?
It was hard, honestly, because a lot of the kids really didn't like me and they would like bully me and stuff like that. I say the time where it actually got more like people started to understand me was when I did music. When I started to sing more, people start to realize, oh, she's really into like the music, she's into like the events, everything there. So I guess that was my way of connecting with people
Mm-hmm.
as a child. And yes, it's like I'm supposed to not think about that, but when you're getting bullied, it's like you start to question yourself, like what's wrong with me, why do they not like me, so but I connected with people through music. Like even if they didn't like me, they loved my voice and like, oh my gosh, she sounds so good, like your voice touches my heart. So
I mean, how can you not have a problem, or how can you not have that problem of not being able to when people are bullying you and when people are making fun of you, because it's one thing of normal teasing, but bullying being the national crisis that it is, it's very challenging. So it's unfortunate, but I'm glad that you were able to find confidence in music. And you said you did choir, right? It was that at a young age?
Yes, I did choir as well, and it's like I was still shy, but people knew that I could sing, but they didn't know that I could really sing until my first like solo I ever got, my first performance ever. And I believe it was the seventh grade. I sung The Empire State of Mind by Alicia Keys featuring
Yeah.
Jay-Z. And I was so nervous, but I had like two or three friends that I was really close to, and they were like, "You did it, good job." I remember that. I'll never forget that day.
Oh, that's awesome. And all you need is that handful of friends to motivate you, push you in the right direction. So I'm really glad that that worked out for you and that you were able to find those positives to ultimately get to where you're at now, which we will definitely dive more into. However, your time on the show, you brought up that your father wasn't really in your life. That can have a pretty substantial impact on children, your confidence, things like that. How have you managed to navigate that in your life right now?
Yes, I think that definitely played a part into like me having like me loving myself as a child. Um, how I navigated through it was really hard. I did a lot of healing, a lot of internal work. I really had to focus on self love and realize that even if he doesn't really want to be in my life, I had to find a way to love myself. I had to see who was there, which was my mom, my sister, my brother, those people that they were there. So it's like, let me stop looking at who's not here and focus on who's here and who's supporting me and who loves me. And let me some way kind of apply that in loving myself.
Amen. I said amen because you also are very spiritual. Is that correct? So,
Yes.
you being a religious person and having that spiritual connection with the Father above, were you able to also find love in that regard where you were like, you know what, I'm being loved by God? And because for a lot of people who I've interviewed in the past and just even friendships I've had, they all say when they have had a parent who wasn't in their life because of something out of their control, more so of their parent not being in their life because they're choosing to, not so of a tragic accident. But what I mean by that is if the father or mother doesn't want to raise the child, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
They tell me that God is such an inspiration for them and a huge thing that they hold on to of at least I have my spiritual father. Was that the same for you?
Yes, it was. And I thank my family for directing me there, and especially my mom. She's my number one supporter. And yes, God definitely. I mean, because even when I was going through this self love journey and really trying to just accept myself, even though like even the ones like my father didn't accept me, it's like, okay. So yes, worship. I did a lot of like singing, worship, praying. That really brought a lot of healing to that area in my life. So, yes, God is definitely number one in that.
God is good. God is good. You talked about how you struggled with self worth and how you got your confidence in singing. What about singing made you gain that confidence? Was it just you kind of being thrusted into this spotlight and things like that? Or was it that you started to realize that you were good? So then you were like, you know what? I'm using these talents and I am talented, at least in this regard. What about music helped you gain this confidence that you have now?
I think that it was really just the feeling that I got singing. Like, it was my way to get my emotions out in the way that I could feel myself, like feel my own self while I was singing. I think that was my way of navigating in that area. And then also, like, I knew that I could sing, but like also seeing that it was touching others as well was inspiring me. I'm like, wow, like I'm really inspiring other people, and I should love myself. I'm helping others. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's kind of like the way that it kind of like all happened.
One of the things I love about music, I always say this, that the two things in life that can always connect people, regardless of backgrounds or past or what have you, is music and sports. If you realize when you're at a concert or when you're at a sports event, you can high five the person next to you and be singing, dancing, and you don't even know who they are. You don't know where they came from. Nothing. I can't tell you how many concerts I've been to where I'm over there dancing, put my arm around the guy next to me, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've never met this person whatsoever. But I mean, hey, we're all having a good time. I wish I
Mhm.
had that confidence that you have in singing. I love to sing. I stink at it. I have to, but to me, I think I sound great. You know, sometimes I'm belting in the car, and I'm like, man, I sound like The Weeknd. What do you mean? Like, I sound great. No, I'm kidding. Not really. But I definitely love it, and I love what it's done for you, because I feel like for a lot of people that I've talked to, where they say music has helped their confidence, it's allowed them to get out of that shell. And for a
Mhm.
person like you who was much of an introvert for most of your life, it's helped you to discover who you are and to realize, wow, people actually appreciate it and I'm doing something good. I'm providing a light and some just even if it's 5 minutes of a song that I'm singing where people can disconnect from what's stressing them out. That's one of the reasons. Shout out Jamar. I love Jamar's lives. He's always, hey, we're just gonna be, yeah, we love Jamar. Jamar, we love you. We'll clip this and we'll shout out Jamar because we love Jamar. That's funny story for the audience. That's actually how I got Manasseh on the show. I reached out to her on Jamar's live. I said,
Yeah.
"Hey, Manasseh, would you like to come on?" And Jamar, good guy, he goes, "Manasseh, do it. Manasseh, do it." So yeah.
Yes.
And Noiva told me to reach out to you too, and he was like, he told me that he was like, "Oh no, you should do it." So
Yes, he messaged me like 2 or 3 days ago. He said, "Oh, I heard that you're going on the podcast with Nathanael." I was like, yes, I am." He's like, "Yes, I'm so happy that you're going."
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, "So sweet."
See, that makes me feel good. And we talked off camera that a lot of people have given some shout outs to me about how great I do with this and stuff like that. Not to toot my own horn here. We're talking about you, but it does feel good when you're using your talents and
Yes.
people. That's ultimately what I'm getting at, people. I'm not just trying to put it about me. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say is when you use your talents for good in the world, people love
Hmm.
it and it makes people feel good, which is what Manasseh is doing. Now, on a more somber note, you unfortunately lost your older brother. You had mentioned that on your time on the show.
Hmm.
I am a middle child of all brothers, so I really couldn't imagine that pain whatsoever. I always say when you lose the loved one, it's almost our destiny to carry on their legacy. That's what I've lost my grandfather, and that's something that I still
Oh,
maintain in
so
this
sorry to
life.
hear that.
How have you been able to have this positive persona that you have while dealing with this tragedy?
It has not been, if I'm going to be completely transparent, has not always been like positive, like because it's been difficult. Well, in the beginning, but I just know that Ray was very persistent and he was a fighter, and I know that that same spirit is within me as well. And so he always said he wanted his story to be told. Like, I have a video of him like recording himself and was telling his story. He just never got to finish it. So I wanted to take it upon myself to be able to do that for him. And the way that I honestly, it really is just God. Like, because I don't even know how I would have, I don't even know how I even got here. Honestly, like just everything that has happened from my brother passing to getting the reject, and because I was wanting to tell his story when I got the no chair turn, and that didn't happen because I didn't get no chair turn to tell it. So it was like I kind of feel like I disappointed myself and I disappointed him. So it was like a stack of like disappointments. So I honestly, I just really don't. Only thing I can think is that it was definitely ordained for everything to happen, because this kind of stuff, a lot of people wouldn't even be able to come back from emotionally. And I'm just so glad that I was able to come back from it.
And you are, and you're doing a fantastic job. And the fact that, to me, every time I've seen you on your lives, every time I've seen you talk to people, from people I've talked to, my sources, mainly Noiva and Jamar. But when I talk to people, they say that you're such a positive individual. Oh, Sorella too. I interviewed them, and when they said they had that sing off with you, which we will definitely get into, they said that you were just a positive individual, and that you radiate. And so
Oh,
it
so
may
very
not
much.
it may not be something that you see day to day, but I think a lot of other people do. And which I want to segue into present day. You are a school teacher. When you work with kids, I did it for 10 years before I switched into this. Working with kids for 10 years, there are times where those days are rough, but those kids almost pick you up and they cheer you up. It's almost like
Hmm.
their little faces and their attitudes give you that feeling of, I can do this. Now, what grade do you work with? What grade do you teach?
It was preschool.
Preschool. Are you still doing that?
Oh no, actually now I'm full time music now, and I'm finally transitioning back into going back to school, because I don't know if you know, I sing opera music and I study it.
That's right. You had a
So
music
I had to
major.
put everything on a pause for a second while I was doing the show. So now that the show is over, I'm going back into that. So that's what I'm doing
Nice.
currently.
Nice. Yeah, so I love working with kids. They were like I said, there were times where I was like, they really do. They picked me up on days when I needed it.
Mhm.
Um, Instilling self-worth, though, to your students was a vital part for you in the operations of your classroom. What were some lessons or some things that you did to instill that self-worth in those children?
I say one of the things is that, one, I would let them express themselves. And, we would have this book, I can't remember, I think it was called the Emotion Book.
Okay.
And we will read it. And after we've done reading it, then I would ask each and every one of them, how are they feeling? And some of them will say, I'm happy today. Majority would say I'm happy. But there would be maybe one or two that would say, I'm mad, I'm angry, or I'm sad. And I would ask them why, and they would explain to me why. I feel like that is a way to kind of let them feel heard and know
Yes.
that their voices is important,
Mm-hmm.
because it might seem little to us, but that is a big deal for, you know 4-year old, 5-year old
Yep.
kids, you know what I'm saying? So honestly, I think that was one of the main ways how I did it. So I will always let them express how they feel and explain why they feel the way that they feel, and I validate it every time. So.
Yeah. It's funny how simple validation can go a long way. It really can.
Mhm.
So it's interesting that you say that, because I want to share a story about my tenure of working with kids. Some of the kids that I worked with were, it was a in a lower income school district, and there were times where some of the kids would just fly off the handle. And I worked with the emotional behavior type of kids. Those were
Mhm.
my type of kids. It was a good time, but nonetheless, it's funny. There were times where some teachers would say, like, for example, I'll never forget this one story. This child really wanted pepperoni pizza, and I remember he
Mhm.
was telling me that
Mhm.
all week. He was like, I want pepperoni pizza. Now, Pizza Fridays. So we get to Friday, and again, he's saying this all week. Here comes Friday. He tells me, "Oh, Mr. Reyes, I can't wait to get my pizza today." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can't wait." So we're in line, and he's waiting, and he goes, and there's no more pepperoni pizza left, and he gets
Oh.
so distraught. And I'll never forget this. One of the, I don't mean to throw anyone under the bus, which is why I'm not saying names, but one of the lunch aides, one of the teachers that was helping doing lunch duty, said, "Get over it." And to me, it's like, you don't understand. He really wanted that all week. That's what he was looking
Mhm.
for. And it's interesting how for children, a small thing could mean such a big thing. And that could
Mm-hmm.
be, to him, that was all what he was looking for. And that could be the difference of a good day or a bad day, because they don't know how to regulate those emotions. For you and I, for Manasseh and Nathanael as adults, it could be, yeah, you couldn't get pepperoni pizza this time. Maybe you can get it another time.
Mm-hmm.
That's us, because we can handle those emotions. But for children, it's not. So I definitely understand that, and I appreciate that you were able to give those validation to those kids,
Mm-hmm.
because they need it more now so than ever, I think. But
Mm-hmm.
now, as for your time on The Voice, you got to do something that I don't think has ever been done on the show. You got to audition twice in 2 seasons.
Yes.
I don't think that's ever been done before, okay? In your first audition, you sang Rescue, right? The
Yes.
coaches didn't really know that song. I don't know. I don't know if you. I don't think they did. They say it on when you were on stage.
They let me uh no, they didn't
I,
say
I
that
think they
they
said
know the
it. I
song.
think they said it when you got off the
But
stage.
when we would look back at it, they were like, John Legend was like, sounds like a praise and worship song.
Was
So
was
he
it
didn't
was
know the
it was it
song.
a was it a praise worship song?
Yeah, it was a contemporary Christian song. Yep.
Nice. Okay. Okay.
So he had a good ear to know what it was kind of giving.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's
Oh,
John Legend.
I just want to double back on the kid thing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Go ahead.
because also like with the kids, it just crushes them, it really hurts them, and they feel the emotions way more than us adults do, and it just might seem so small, but it really be hurting them. Like I know that probably crushed the your student with the pepperoni pizza. Like, oh, that's so sad.
It
And I think invalidating, saying get over it is not the right way to go, because it's like nobody cares, and then that kind of brings some trauma as well. Like, so
because
yeah.
it makes them feel like, oh wow, nobody's gonna really care about how I feel. And like I said, for you and I'll be upfront. There are times where if I'm hungry for something and there's no more, I even get a little upset. I'm like, man, I really wanted that. So it's like, it's like when you growing up with all brothers. Like I said, there are times where it's like you're waiting all day for school to end to go get that snack in the cabinet. Then when you get to that snack in the cabinet, it's not there because your
Oh.
brother ate it. You're like, man, what the heck? I really wanted that snack. And so I completely understand it. Nobody understands it more than me. So I'm not going to, I obviously feel bad that those kids don't get that validation. So I try to go ahead and say, no, it's okay. It's completely okay, and I understand it, and I understand that it's a big deal for you. It may not be for me, but it's a big deal for you, and that's what we're discussing, because your emotions and your feelings matter at this point in time.
Yes, I love that. That was so good.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, well, if you do it long enough, you do it. Like I said, I did it for 10 years, and it was a fun time. It was a good time. I have many, many stories. I still love working with kids. I still love, like,
Me too.
on the side, I do like personal fitness trainer, and I do it for like college kids that are trying to get to a collegiate level. So
Hmm.
college level athletes try to get there. So it's a good time. I love it. I still do that, but for the most part, I kind of have completely transitioned, like you, full time into podcasting and things like that. Whereas for you, it's full time for music. But um, now transitioning back into your time on The Voice,
Yes.
nobody turned for you that first time. We talked about rejection and stuff like that. I feel like in singing, acting, really any job, rejection is very common.
Hmm.
How you respond to the rejection is what defines you. Fast forward to this past season, what motivated you to want to audition a second time?
Honestly, I was so close to not doing it.
Really?
Yes, because I was still okay. So it was back to back. Like it was really fast. Season 22 from season 23. So I thought I was over it, and I wasn't over it. Once I got the call back, I was like, okay, this is great, but wait, there's a chance this could happen again where I want to get a chair turn.
Yeah.
And I was also really I had a vocal issue at this time when they called me back where I was like hoarse, my voice wasn't fully there. And I was like, I can't go back, and my voice is not even at its full potential right now. And then I'm also dealing with the idea of, oh, there's a chance this when I won't even get a chair turn. So I was just battling a lot in that moment. And my family was a huge push, and my best friend too. Shout out to Brian, was
Shout
a
out.
huge push. And they were like, you just don't know. If you don't go, you will always wonder, like, what could have happened, you know? And so I really went off on faith, like going, and I went on a strict vocal rest. And I was just praying every single day that I was there. Every single day I was there. The team, the voice team is amazing. They also was so supportive, and they were also there helping me through that as well. And that's how it kind of like I just went, and it was really on because literally before the blind audition, I was having like a attack, like a panic attack. Like I was talking to the voice coach. I'm just like, I don't know. And she's like, she said, what do you need right now? I said, I need words of affirmation. And so she said, you are meant to be here. She just started pouring into me. And then the doors opened and I went out, and that's when Rise Up just really became part of my story. It was just like, you're broken down and tired, like, and it was just like, it just became a part of me. And so when Chance turned, I was so relieved.
And he turned pretty early into the song. I from what it seemed on TV, he turned around pretty early and was very happy that he got to have you. He was like jumping and moving in the chair. So I think that was really cool that Chance turned for you because again the rejection and the self-doubt in a way of, is this really my path, is this really something I'm even meant to do? And it's funny how words of affirmation can just alter your perception because there are times where that self-doubt creeps in and somebody there who's positive, this positive role model, just being there for you. So shout out to that individual who gave you those words of affirmation when you needed it.
Yes,
So
Trayvani, I love you.
look at that. We just love look at all these shout outs. We're giving all these shout outs. We just want everyone to get their flowers. They deserve it. Then in the battles, you face Sorella. Shout out Sorella. You know, as we're doing our shout outs, we love you, Sorella.
Stella.
You sang, in my opinion, a really hard song, an Adele song. Super hard. What was going through your mind when you found out your opponent of Sorella and the song choice?
Honestly, I was like, okay, so everyone was like afraid to go against like a group. It didn't matter what team had a group. Sheer element, like everyone was afraid to go against a group because it's one voice against multiple voices. That's just the thing. But for me, since I had a background of like doing like quartets and choir and stuff like that, I was like, I'm ready. Like
You
I
embrace the challenge.
yes, I was
Yeah.
excited to be with Sorella because one, they're so talented and gifted, and two, I knew that I could hold my own. Like I knew that I could. I knew I had the voice to be able to sing with them, like to be with them. So I was really excited, and then knowing that it was my one of my favorite artists, Adele, and Someone Like You goes way back, and so I was like, this is perfect. I know this song like the back of my hand. I know this song so well, and so I was just excited. I was really excited. I knew that we were gonna kill it. Like I just knew we were.
Yeah, no, and you ladies rocked it on stage, the four of you. And I think even Blake said it. Blake was like, I can't believe I saw this live. Or Niall, one of them said that. they were like, I can't believe I saw this live because it just was so good. The four of you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
How was it getting those insight notes and lessons from a person like Chance when you got to work with him?
I say I loved it. Like when I first met Chance, it felt like home. It felt like he was like a brother, and I was super happy he was my coach. I think I wouldn't even want any other coach but him because I feel like we just connected so well. And the pointers that he was giving me was like, it was really validating my artistry. And I really appreciated that because when you're, you know, coming back a second time and you've already dealt with the rejection and neglection, all of that, you can doubt yourself. And I think with him saying, be you, because during the battle rounds, he was like, be you, it's great that you're singing and that you're a part of with Sorella, but remember that you're an individual and you have your own artistry. So you just let go and just be you and do you. And when he said that, I was just like, he's so right. Like he said, you just do it. And that's when I just went in and did what I did.
And you did great, and you did great. And so the battle's wrapped up. The coaches were giving you their compliments as well as their constructive criticism. Chance chose Sorella. At that moment in time, you're thinking that your time on the show is done now, right? That's how it works. Like,
Yes, it works. I don't know who was going to get the playoff pass, but I felt in my soul
that it was
like
you.
I didn't know what was going to happen. There was like maybe 1% of like, there's a chance that I could go. But at the same time, that other 99, I'm just like, there's no way I'm going home after that. Like, the way that Chance was like shaking and doing all that when I was singing and all of that, and then like just for him to like let me go, but just like no, there's no way. Like I was claiming it. I said I'm gonna get the playoff pass. I'm gonna get the playoff pass.
You were
I kept
manifesting it. Yeah, you were
yeah,
manifesting. Yeah.
I kept saying I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it. And me and Sarah are like, we're not going home. We're staying. Like I kept saying that, and they were like, yeah, we're not going home. And they were like, they didn't want the playoff pass. They said they want they want to just go to the knockouts because they didn't want to have to like. It was just a lot with that behind the scenes with the playoff pass, and they said no. We just want to keep just go to the next round. I was like, I want to go. I want to get the playoff pass because I felt like I've been doing this for a very long time, and I feel like a break is kind of what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I just felt like I was gonna get it, and when like we did that performance so good, like, and so when he picked Sorella, I was happy.
Yeah.
I was like, yes,
Because you're
Sorella's
happy for
staying.
them too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was happy for them. And I'm like, yes, they're going through. But then I was like, there's a chance I could go home. There's a chance I could get stolen, or there's a chance I could get the playoff pass.
And
And I felt like the playoff pass was going to happen. Like I really did.
you felt it in your gut. You felt it in your gut, and sure enough, you were the show's first ever playoff pass, first ever. So I think you're the first person that has come back in consecutive seasons, and you're the first person who's gotten the playoff pass. So on national television, you have confetti pouring over you as you're
Yes.
embellishing and relishing in that moment. What was it like to be there and have that moment for you, especially going through everything that you went through with the rejection the first time and things like that?
It all makes sense. Like, so that I can make history on the show. Because one thing it is like, there's going to always be another winner every year, but there will never
Right.
be a first playoff pass. And so I was just like, wow, like God, you really like orchestrated that. Like he's like, well, you didn't get no chairs turned, but I'm gonna put you in this position to where you're gonna come back and you're gonna make history on this show. This is never gonna ever happen again. And I felt like that was like it all made sense. It was ordained. It was meant for that to happen for me. So me being the first playoff pass was just like I was just feeling like I was in a dream. Like if you notice, I had my hands up. I was just like, Like I was just so happy and so grateful
And like I said, you
that
have
even
these
kids told me.
streamers coming down at the same time, and you're just like, yeah, yeah. So if you rewatch it, it kind of does look like a scene in a movie. Like it kind of looks like because
Yes,
it also does the slow mo camera. But so it
yes.
is one of those moments that it's like, wow, Manasseh, that was you. That was you. That was you. So
I'm
you got to
so
be proud of yourself for that.
I'm so grateful. I am like I'm so grateful for him even giving me the playoff pass because he could have gave the playoff pass to anyone else on the team, and he gave it to me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's actually really happening. Like that performance was that day was just I just never forget it. I'll never forget it.
Nope. Hold on to that as long as you can until you can't remember your name. That's when you can forget it. Other than that, and tell that story everywhere you go because now it's etched in history. So the playoffs now, you saying "Speak the Name" by a former voice contestant. What does that song mean to Manasseh, and why did Manasseh choose that song?
It felt like it just felt like a signification of my entire life. Like speaking the name is all I've been doing, and it's been working out for me. Like
Mm,
worshiping God, praising His name has been like it has been so evident in my life, and I wanted to praise His name whether I was going to leave or not. I wanted to give Him the glory, and I came on this show, season 22, singing a gospel song, a Christian, contemporary Christian song. And I said, if I leave this time, at least that I left out worshiping him, his name. So it was just kind of like everything that has happened, the rejection, the my brother, everything. It's like it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna speak the name and know that no matter what happens, everything's gonna work out in the end for me in my journey. So it was just kind of like a closing an era in a way for me. That's what it really meant for me.
nice, and it was because unfortunately, although it was a powerful performance, your time on the show did come to an end. But that doesn't mean anything. I always, there's talented singers, and as we just mentioned, there's rejection happening in acting, music, any type of thing. That doesn't mean that you're not good. That doesn't mean that you won't have another opportunity. It just means at that moment in time. And there are times where, I've done some TV and movie auditions. There are times where literally they've said, "No, you're great. You just don't have the look." That happens, and that's a rejection. Like, because you're like, "Wow, I'm good, but I'm not good enough." And so to have that thick skin is so important, especially for a person like yourself who's going into this field. And so, although your time ended, it was marvelous, and it was one that, again, like I said, it was. I don't mean to be redundant, but it was etched in history. It will never be repeated. There will never be a person who's has that comeback story that you did on the show, in my opinion. Maybe
Thank
everyone has
you.
their own journey, but you, Manasseh, that was a comeback story, and so I'm
Thank
giving you a
you.
clap right now. No, of course, of course. Overall, great experience for you. I would say. What's one thing that obviously there's many things, but what's one thing you're gonna really take from this experience as you're pursuing your music career into your next chapter of your music career?
Is that I can do anything. Like it doesn't really matter like what people say about me because I've seen the comments, I've seen what people have said, and one thing I know is that I would never like I would never let I went so low, like I got so like low emotionally to where I felt like I just wasn't good enough. And now that I know that I'm more than enough, it's like the one thing that I would take from this experience is knowing that I'm going to succeed in my career. I'm going to succeed and I'm going to make it. It doesn't matter how many times I get told no, because I've been told no here
You were
in
told
the
no on
public
national
eye.
television. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like okay, it's okay, it's okay, because that doesn't mean that it's not my purpose. It's just part of my journey.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the one thing I take from it.
Hey, that's part of the journey. The rejection. I saw this quote one time, and it said, "Are you willing to sprint to get what you want?" And I think it was like a high school or college coach, and he was like saying it to his players, and his players are like, "Yeah, yeah," and he goes, "But are you willing to do it if you don't know where the distance is, how far the distance is?" And
Hmm,
I'm like, wow. So it's
that's deep.
right, isn't it? Very profound. It's something I hold on to. So it sounds like you're willing to sprint as long as the distance needs you to get because and as far as the rude comments that you probably have received, if you get I always say this, if you get love or hate, you're doing something right, regardless.
Mhm.
Because if people love you, then that means you're doing something great and that's why they love you. And if you're getting hate, that means you're doing something great and they wish that they could be you. And in your scenario, in your case here, they're hating on you because, again, like I said, you have the comeback story of the century on that TV show. Nobody will be able to replicate, duplicate, emulate nothing. It is,
That's
it
so
is, it
true.
is, it
You
is.
you're really bringing that like to the light, and I didn't even think of it like that.
Yeah,
Like the playoff pass, but like even this the whole entire story, like
yeah, yeah,
wow.
yeah. And finish the story, and now the story's still being written in your case. So for you,
Yes.
it's on you to finish it. So great job. Thank you so much. Are you ready for some rapid fire questions? This is different. I like to do this towards the end. All right.
I'm ready.
Okay. Who are some of your inspirations musically?
Beyonce, Adele, Tasha Cobbs Leonard.
Okay. Beyonce. Okay. What is it? Queen Bee? Is she Queen Bee? Is that what they say?
That's what they say.
What is your favorite day of the week?
That's a good one.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Saturday.
Saturday. Okay. We're doing this podcast on a Saturday. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that you have taken time out of your favorite weekday to do this. Saturday was always it for me too. When I was always working or in the schools, I hated Fridays because I was always so tired from the week. Everyone
Mhm.
loved Friday and I'm like, Friday I'm a shell of myself at this point. Like Friday I don't know. I'm not happy about it. But so nonetheless, Saturdays I like that. Okay. What is one U.S. city that you would want to live in? Like, if you could live in any U.S. city, which one would it be?
California.
Okay, okay. L.A. or just any city in California?
Uh, California. Los Angeles.
Okay, so
I was
L.A.
trying to
Yeah.
think of I can't think of this other one. It start with a P. I always forget it, but
Oh,
I can't remember
Palmdale.
it.
Palmdale. Is that?
I can't even remember it. But I
I'm
do like Santa Monica too as well.
okay. If Palmdale is not a city in California, I apologize to my seventh grade geography teacher. Okay, sorry about that. Which is scarier to you, the ocean or space?
The ocean.
Me too. Me too. The ocean is way scary.
Because it's so dark. Like when you go in there, it's so dark, and we don't know what's down there.
And we live on here. Like in space, okay, there might be something in space, whatever, I don't know. But they're not
Right.
bothering me right now. If I go in the ocean, whatever's in there could go mess me up right then and
You
there.
could be like a monster just looking at us, so big. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm afraid of the ocean more than I am of space too. Okay, yep. Well, while we're on this topic, what is one conspiracy theory that you kind of believe in?
Um. Oh, I got so many. I'm trying to think of a good one. Can I say two, or I have to
Yeah,
say one?
no, no, you know what? This is your episode, your show. Say two.
Oh, okay. So one, I feel like there are sea creatures in like a sea world.
So you think there's like Atlantis or mermaids and things like that under there
Yes,
somewhere? Okay.
because the movies, it's like where are they getting this information from? Like I know they're just not thinking about it.
You're
Like
right.
oh, it's just a mermaid. We just came up with that. No, I feel like they're getting it from somewhere, And that's how it, and they're putting it in movies like, oh, it's just fake, it's not real, when really it's real. I really feel like it's sea creatures down there.
Okay, okay, and what's your second one?
And the reason why, hold on, so
Yeah.
the reason why, and I feel like we can't go down there and see. I think that's why God made it so where we can't breathe underwater long.
So that way we let them live and we don't bother them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I feel like there's an Ursula. Like it may not be that big because if you watch the movie,
Have you seen the new one? Is that
yes,
okay? I haven't
you
seen it
see
yet.
how she stirred the ocean and it looked like a hurricane.
Oh
What
yeah.
if like yeah, what if like there's a Ursula at the bottom and they get upset with us and so they decide to stir the what's the name? They know they can't come to the land, so they stir it up and that's what causes the hurricanes.
Oh,
You gotta watch it
I
because she was stirring like the ocean up and it was just swirling around.
okay. I definitely do need to watch it. I've been meaning to get out and watch it. I've just been so busy. But so wow. That is actually a very good point. Like I've always thought that because they always say that we only discover what is it, 10-15% of the ocean. And it's scary to me with all the technology that we have nowadays. How are we still not able to go under there? And you're right, like and you're right, it's dark. Like I saw this video one time where I forget how many meters they went down, and it was pitch black. Like you couldn't. I don't know. That's scary to me. It's scary to
And
me.
they can see under there and we
Yeah,
can't.
it's
Oh,
scary.
that's
I
so
know.
scary.
And you're underwater and you can't breathe. Okay, that is creepy. That's that's why I'm more afraid of the That's why I'm more afraid of the ocean. All right, what's the second one?
um I forgot. I think the second one I think is more so that I think there's giants. That like giants are real.
You think that there's giants, like that there's like land giants or people?
Like
Like
people. Like I feel like the big old tall like they were in the back in the day. Like I feel like those are still real, but I don't know where they are.
really? I could there you could probably be right because if you think about it, there is like Amazonian forests that are not like we don't live on. There's islands that people don't live on, and in the world, and so there has to be
Wow.
some sort of life form out there. So
It
they
has
are
to be something. Even like the areas that we can't even go to, like
right.
it has to be a reason. Like we can't never go to Alaska or Antarctica.
Antarctica, yeah, Antarctica,
We
yeah.
can't go there. Like
Alaska's a state. People live in Alaska.
yeah, Antarctica. We can't go there. I'm like, I wonder why.
Yeah. You're not wrong. Like and I know that there's islands off of who knows what they're called. Some other islands,
I
and
know.
and there has to be some sort of life form out there. Like there's, I don't know if this is true or not, so I'm not gonna sit here and say it's 100%. But I saw a TikTok where there's an island where just pigs live on the island. How did pigs get on this island to begin with, and how are they able to survive without
Oh
any
wow.
food and things like that? Yeah, like I could be wrong. I saw it on TikTok, so I'll have to,
Pigs?
I'll have to check it again after to make sure. But so if I'm wrong, please don't be in my comments making fun of me. No, it's
You should
okay.
send me that video because I want to see it.
I will. I'll no, I see them on my TikTok all the time. I'll scroll through and they'll randomly say, like I said, the island in the island. There's one where there's an island in an island in an island, and yeah, it's crazy. So to get there, you have to like, boat out however far distance, and then it's a little island, but then within that island is more islands. It's so weird. Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
Wow.
So, all right, awesome. Those were good ones. I like the discussion. Now, to wrap it up, I have a chat pack here, okay? And so there's going to be two questions, okay? You can choose to answer. The rules are, okay? You have to choose to answer at least one If you don't, okay? Because
Okay.
I'm grabbing them at random here. They're at random.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna grab two, and I'll read you both. Okay. Okay. I like this question. Okay. So here's one of the questions. Again, you can choose to answer both, but you have to at least answer one. That's the rule on the Reyes reflection that I just made up now. What is the best $100 you have ever spent in your life? That is one question. The se-
Oh,
the second one is, in your not so humble opinion, what is your most likable quality? So on this one, you can be a little bit cocky. You can be a little bit feeling yourself a little bit, okay? Because it says in your not so. Is that right? Could be right. All right. So wait, do you want to answer both?
yes.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with the first one then. What is the best $100 you've ever spent in your life?
Um, man, it's so hard.
Right.
Um,
Considering that even just groceries now are $100, so I mean, you can run in for groceries, and that's the best $100 I probably spent in the last week.
that's so true. I say, my recording, my interface that I have, that was like $100 in that area.
Yeah.
So that has to be probably the greatest thing I've spent $100 on because I can record music and have music out for you guys.
And make content. I like it. Okay.
Mhm.
And now the next one is, in your own not so humble opinion, what is your most likable quality?
Oh man.
I know, right? You're like, I have to say something good about myself. Come on. Yeah.
I say does it have to be like it can't be about singing?
You know what? We'll do not singing, and then we'll do singing. We'll make our own rules
Okay.
here. So because I'm curious to get to know you also, not just music, you know? So, yeah.
Got you, got you. Okay, so with singing, it would be I could do anything with my voice, from opera, rock, country. I could do anything with my voice. The second one, non-singing, um, I am. I can make anyone's day.
Yeah. I you can. You can. You've made mine today. And I appreciate that.
So sweet.
Where can people find you to stay in touch and get to see what you're doing, all your content that you're going to be pushing out, and all that jazz? Where can people find you?
So on TikTok, I do post a lot of singing videos. I do a lot of content on there. I do on Instagram too, but really TikTok is where you're gonna see all of my stuff. So it's Manasseh Samone, like right here.
The
Manasseh.
way it's on the screen, my friends.
So Manasseh Samone is TikTok all together, no spaces, and then Instagram is Manasseh dot Simone.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and
That's
then also YouTube. Check me out on YouTube because I'll be posting content on there all the time. I actually got a blog behind the scenes that I did with Chance because I sing with Chance invited us to sing Same Drugs.
Was this on wait, was this on the show or no?
This was on the
Oh
show.
yeah, you came back, right?
Yeah, I came back.
Yes, that's right, on the finale.
Yeah, the finale. So I'm gonna be showing a behind the scenes of what happened to get to that point. So you guys just be on the lookout for that because it's coming on my YouTube channel.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, he did. He invited you back and a few others, I think, right? A couple other people.
Yes, Jamar and Kala.
Yeah, Jim. Oh, I love Jamar. Look at that. See,
Yes.
I can't wait to watch that. I cannot wait to watch that. Manessa, thank you so much. You made my Saturday. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day, joining me on the
Course.
podcast. You are now a friend of the show. Ready? Look at this is like boom. That's an honorary member. You're like an Avenger now. That's what I always say. It's like being an Avenger. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for inviting me. This is so fun. I enjoyed myself.
See, I'm glad you did. I see. All right. What's one thing you could say to anybody who's maybe hesitant of joining an episode of the Raise Reflection podcast?
It's no pressure. Like it's no pressure. It's very down to earth, which I really love. It he's not just talking about like what you do. He's talking about who you are. So that is what makes it more better, because normally people that interview me, they always talk about what I do rather than like getting to know who I am as a person. So shout out to you, Nathanael.
Woo! All right. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I really mean that. I appreciate that. You made my day. Well, my friends, that is going to do it for this episode of the Reyes Reflection Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. And please like, comment, and subscribe anywhere you get your podcast: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and follow me on Instagram and TikTok at I'm Nathanael Reyes. And you know the deal. May you live, may you love, and may you thrive. I am Oprah, and I love you all.